Picture this scenario with me. You've recently had a few dates, 5 to be exact, with a unique, intriguing, and vivacious individual. With each date that passes, you find yourself further fascinated and interested with this person, and the 6th date coming up has promised itself to be a special one to say the least. You get yourself worked up, groom more than you usually do, and put on your finest outfit only to find your date waiting for you in a t-shirt, shorts, and sandals so you can hit up a Taco Bell before taking a romantic shopping stroll through Walmart. Sure, it still ends up being a good time, and there's by all means some fond memories that were created by the experience, but overall, you can't help but feel slighted by the outcome of what was suggested to be a more standout date than the rest. And sadly, this is basically how I found myself feeling after the series finale of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let me mention right away, it's not a horrible ending, and I'm more than willing to acknowledge the good along with the bad, but I gotta be honest here and say I feel like they kinda dropped the ball at the end a bit.
That's the Black Falcon there, I tell you.
Nah, that's Captain America.
We start off by picking back up with the GRC headquarters being held hostage by the Flag Smashers to avoid them passing any sort of vote on the Patch Act. Before long, Sam flies up to enter the building, and I'm sure you're wondering, wait a second, how the hell did he fly in there if John Walker tore off his wings in the last episode? Turns out Sam's Wakandan Christmas present was indeed that Falcon/Captain America hybrid suit. I would bother trying to take some more credit for calling that, but I feel like that was relatively obvious. As he makes his way through and runs into George St. Pierre, Bucky receives a phone call from Carly where she, tries to convince him to join her, I guess? But he quickly refuses, and all the while, Sharon has decided to join the party and help the titular duo, even though I currently wouldn't trust her as far as Bucky could throw her. So at this point, it seems Carly has gone batshit crazy. She's referring to not caring if she dies because the movement is bigger than her now, not caring if her fellow Flag Smashers die because the movement is bigger than them now, willing to burn hostages alive just to divert Bucky's attention. It's to the point where even her fellow members hesitate to rally to her cause. The Flag Smashers begin to hijack a couple of trucks full of GRC representatives and get intercepted first by Bucky, followed shortly afterwards by John Walker and his newly put together homemade shield, which is evidently not made of adamantium or anything close to it. He has an impressive fight alongside Bucky against the villainous super crew and is given a very nice character building moment where he has to quickly decide between running after Carly or helping a falling truck full of people, and he decides to go the heroic route, which was a really nice touch as the whole show and the comics have shown that Walker isn't by any means 100% evil. He's just got a bad temper and needs to keep his emotions in check. But his valiant effort is cut short when a few more Flag Smashers knock him away from the truck so that they can instead be saved by the new Captain America. George St. Pierre fires off a couple of smoke bombs to cause a distraction so Carly and company can escape, and the heroes swiftly chase after them. They all split up, and Carly soon finds herself face to face with Sharon, or should I say, the Power Broker. Are you fucking serious? I'm sorry, I am not wowed or won over whatsoever by this reveal. It was obnoxiously obvious that she was up to no good, and I feel like without trying to rip the writers a new one, this can all be chalked up to a lack of creativity. It would have been much more compelling to take the woman that everyone thought for sure was going to be the villain, and possibly have her be a double agent that was working for the Power Broker, just so she could gain some inside intel on the enemy. Or maybe have her be forced to work for the Power Broker due to them having some sort of personal hold over her. Perhaps by having her family under constant threat if she doesn't abide by the villain's rules. Whatever, I guess. George St. Pierre attempts to blackmail Sharon, but she shoots him, and then Carly shoots her. Immediately afterwards, Sam pops around the corner to see the aftermath, and instead of Carly right away telling Sam about Sharon's true identity, she has a fight with him, because all problems can be solved through violence. Jump over to the Flag Smashers that split away from Carly earlier, and they used their Flag Smasher app to go somewhere, and then they get caught by Walker and Bucky because they tracked them through the app. What the absolute fuck is going on in this episode? Then Walker and Bucky have a little buddy-buddy moment? So are we just dismissing the fact that you beat every ounce of shit out of each other the last time you were in the same room, or what? Is this Fight Club now, where kicking each other's asses makes you best friends all of a sudden? Back to the fight with Carly and Sam, where Sam makes it increasingly more apparent that he's not trying to fight Carly, which pisses her off as she really wants to fight him for some reason, and she pulls a gun on him. Just as she's about to pull the trigger, Sharon comes around the corner to shoot Carly, and she dies in Sam's arms, claiming she's sorry with her final breath. No you're fucking not. You had chance after chance to change your ways and not follow through with the evil shit you did. You had everyone around you show signs of hesitancy, uncertainty, and remorse for what you were asking them to do and disregarded all of them. I feel nothing for you here. Shit, I feel worse for your friend that Walker took out in the middle of the street. Anyway, Sam brings her lifeless body down to where all the GRC members conveniently happen to be so he can give his first ever public Captain America speech. And I will say, it's a pretty good speech. I love the way he's not afraid to call the senators out on their shit right in front of everybody, but I can't help but feel like parts of this were awfully forced. So he walks off with Bucky, gives Walker a nod, and goes to speak to Sharon, who they still don't know is the power broker, and Bucky walks her off to go take care of her gunshot wound. Then Sam is requested to find a stray flag smasher. Meanwhile, the other flag smashers that were captured because of using an app are claimed to be taken to the raft, but the soldier locking them up drops the infamous cult quote, "One world, one people," insinuating that they're still in friendly hands. It's almost obnoxious how much of a Hydra 2.0 these people seem to have become. They don't get far, however. The truck they're being transported in gets blown up by Zemo's butler? And we get a momentary shot of Zemo at the raft, smirking at the sound of his plan going successfully. In the courtroom that Walker had the mantle of Captain America stripped away, we find Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine and Walker's wife awaiting the antihero as he tries on his new suit and is officially donned the title of U.S. Agent. Bucky crosses the last name out of his little book by visiting his old Japanese buddy and finally admitting that he's the one who murdered his son while under the Winter Soldier brainwash, and drops the little book off to his therapist so she can know he's found some peace. Sam pays a visit to Isaiah to take him over to the Captain America exhibit in the museum, where he had a section added to keep the memory of Isaiah's time as a hero alive, which to me was the most touching moment of the whole episode. To wrap it all up nicely, Bucky, Sam, and everyone in his hometown join together for a big cookout, and we see a final title card that reads Captain America in the Winter Soldier instead of the Falcon in the Winter Soldier. A nice touch. An even nicer touch would have been it saying Captain America and the White Wolf, since a portion of the show heavily focused on Bucky not being the Winter Soldier any longer. Whatever. Alright, so then we get to the mid-credit scene. Gotta be something juicy here, right? What are the last images and lines they're gonna leave us with? Nothing more than a simple scene of the Sharon getting her full pardon just as Sam promised, and proceeds to make a phone call about how there may be no more super soldiers, but line those buyers up for government secrets and shit. Okay, then it ends. There's the breakdown of the series finale, One World, One People. If I had to describe this episode in the quickest way possible, it would have to be absurdly predictable, underwhelming, and hard to follow with a few enjoyable moments. Was I the only one who felt like there's an entire episode or something missing in between this one and last week's, or that there should have been another episode? I feel like I had little to no clue what was going on during the first half of the episode with the whole GRC takeover and hostage situation. Like, what was the fucking purpose of that? I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you what Carly was trying to accomplish there. Was it to threaten the lives of the GRC head members unless they chose to not follow through with the Patch Act? Or was it to take them out regardless so there was no more corrupt people of power? I didn't know how to measure the stakes of what was taking place because I wasn't even aware of the stakes. The action was decent, not the best the show had to offer, but just felt like filler more than anything, unfortunately. Why are Sam, Bucky, and everyone else for that matter cool with John Walker now? Don't get me wrong, he had one of the best arcs of the episode and show overall, but shouldn't he have been arrested at the end? I at least thought they did a great job with the evolution of his character, seeing him go from an innocent guy with good intentions to an impatient and aggressive Captain America to a torn man that simply wants to do the right thing, knowing he's willing to accomplish his goals by any means necessary. I cannot express enough how indifferent I feel about Carly's entire storyline throughout this series. It felt like it never fully materialized and didn't manage to go far enough to make her a memorable character, let alone imposing enough to be one of the quote-unquote villains of the series, and her death was played out like you're supposed to empathize with her? Absolutely not, you fucking forced hand of a narrative. As a matter of fact, I thought it was pretty relieving to see her kick the can here. Was getting tired of her shit. And speaking of shit, that's exactly how I would describe the choice of revealing Sharon Carter to be the power broker. It was a cool idea for like 5 fucking minutes when she first appeared, but seeing it actually come to fruition did not pan out the way I think they expected it to. It didn't shift or change my feelings about anything in any way. I wasn't rattled to the core as to how such a suspiciously resourceful and informative ally could possibly turn on the people who were partially responsible for getting her in the position she's currently enduring. It just had no impact, and I can't honestly say I'm excited to see where things end up going for her. It's just kind of like, yep, okay, she's evil now, I guess. And seriously, her pardon was the mid-credit scene? You genuinely didn't have anything more exciting, compelling, or worthwhile for the finale's mid-credit scene? Hands down, one of the best executed elements of this episode was Sam finally and fully taking on the role of Captain America. His outfit is damn near identical to the one he rocks in the comics during his tenure as Cap, and all of his fighting and flying sequences were fun to watch. However, the episode seemed to take a heavy turn to directly making this the Sam Wilson show, as Bucky takes a backseat and doesn't really have much going on here than a bit of fighting himself and a decent finish to his Winter Soldier redemption journey. I understand it's hard to not put the spotlight on Sam and his new role, but it didn't seem necessary to throw Bucky on the back burner as much as it felt they did. All in all, was I happy with this finale? Meh. And believe me, I don't enjoy admitting that. I don't think the show is ruined because of the flaws here, but there are absolutely some flaws here. Based on multiple sources and videos I've read and seen, I'm led to believe the show wasn't supposed to be quite like this. It seems there was a big storyline focusing on a virus similar to COVID that forced the writers and editors to somehow fit a square peg into a round hole. Cause, it's not like we can handle shows or movies that contain any real-life subjects and themes or anything. And in having to do so, we ended up with a choppy, oddly paced adventure that almost, dare I say, has vibes of the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League simply because of how it tends to feel like two different shows morphed together at times. I still very much enjoyed the show in its entirety, and it was a solid second entry to the fourth phase of the MCU, and I hope you all have enjoyed the breakdowns of the episodes throughout. Let me know your thoughts on the finale and where you think things could go from here. Like the video if you enjoyed this content, and I'll catch you at the next review.